Hey folks, how's it going? I am doing a surprise live. I literally even surprised myself. I was just about to do a short video and then I thought, be spontaneous, go live. So anybody who joins me, please make a comment. Rhonda R, hey girl, what's up? Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for making a comment. Good morning. I just was getting on here. Oh, hoping for answers. Good morning. Hi. I was just getting on here real quick to make a few statements about the Idaho 4 case. Allegedly, hey, dude. I think you're a dude, right? I think I see you on Watts the Obsession quite a bit and a few others. Hey, Alistair Grant. Good morning, America. So allegedly, I just want you to know I'm a huge fan. And I think that's who you are, the guy that's on Watts the Obsession and some other things. Yes, ma'am. Okay, thank you for letting me know. That's awesome. So how nice. We have a nice little handful of folks here. Very cool. Very cool. So let's see, where shall I start? Everything I say is my opinion only and purely for the sake of speculation, conversation, hopefully education, and it's made specifically for YouTube. So there is an entertainment factor there, even though I try really hard not to feed into that entertainment factor. I do try hard to make it interesting. Sometimes I like to use my hands. Try to have a nice background, decent lighting. My goal is to have good content and to have a great audience because you guys are really what make this what it is. So if you've been watching my channel the last few days, you know I'm working on this giant project that's due Thursday, and I just can't believe I'm so close to the finish line. I might have it done today, maybe tomorrow. It is a graduate school application. I made the mistake of the fatal mistake of looking up the acceptance rate over the weekend, and it is less than 3%. It's like less than the lowest acceptance rate in the country for this specific program. So I probably won't get in, and that's all right. Just got to give it my best shot. And, I'm so excited about my YouTube channel. I've been telling you guys that again and again. And really, what's so exciting about it is the audience. I just had no idea what this venture would be like when I started. And it really is kind of, to me, it's like the all American dream or thing because you're finding your own voice and it's freedom of press, freedom of speech. And I just feel like we have to be careful, of course, within that freedom to be true to ourselves and true to just true. So that's kind of what inspired me to come on this morning real quick before I finish up dotting all my I's and crossing all my T's. I got one last document, got a phone call to make sure I'm doing everything right, and then I can finish it up and get on with my life. So nice, right? So let me read some of your comments. Hey, Caleb Lee. Good morning, Lady Justice, and good fortunes in all your endeavors. Hoping for answers. Glad to catch a live. I know you have been busy. Be positive. And MP. Oh, is the I don't know that the I don't know that the mod is here. The MC3PO. Yeah, I got my coffee. Logging into work. I'm still here just listening while I log in. Very cool. So yeah, I'm in a really good place. I've got the best job I've ever had in my life. And as much as I would love to get into this doctoral program, I certainly would not want it to interfere with the position that I currently have. And so, we'll just see what happens. You guys know my background is mental health and specifically art therapy. But one of the most important things I feel like I've learned in my master's degree and practicing, actually, I learned this practicing, not so much in school, is the concept of narrative therapy. That concept, to me, what I found so helpful is that it's not what happens in our lives or what happens in our relationships that define us, our lives, or our relationships. It's what we do with what happens. It's what we subscribe our belief system to, and it's how we go forward. So it's not the conflict or the crisis that defines us, it's the aftermath. And that's where we have so much choice, especially, let's say, in a situation where you've been victimized, right? Let's say somebody was sexually assaulted and they feel like trash and garbage and just so beaten down from that. So understanding that they're not trash, they're not garbage, that yes, they've been beaten down from that, but the perpetrator is the trash and the garbage. And changing that perspective, just shifting the blame, shifting the shame can make all the difference in the world. Let me read a few of your comments here. Hi, Rhonda, hoping for answers allegedly. Happy day to you. And yeah, it's really happy to be back up here on a live. And let me just share with you why I quit going live. It was a couple of things. It was the Kiely Rodni case was going nuts and people were going crazy. And there was some technical difficulty that I don't know if it was from people involved in going nuts on the Kiely Rodni case. I don't know if they were hacking into my system or not. I'm not saying that they were because I have no evidence of it. It could have just as easily been any technical difficulty. But I know that a lot of people that were focused on that case were having weird things happen. So there were a few things, and I just kind of go with the flow. So I was having trouble with one of my lives. You guys might remember that. It kicked me off and then I couldn't get back on, and then I was able to get back on. It was weird. It was about a month ago probably. And so for other reasons too, like I just mentioned, and this, that, and the other, and then also working on my graduate school application, because honestly, I was not sure that I was going to do that until a couple of weeks ago. So, I kind of had it in the back of my mind for a while, and the deadline was creeping up on me. And I just thought, well, since I'm not sure, why don't I go ahead and throw my hat in the ring? Because if I don't and I miss the deadline, I won't have that option. But if I do, and I make the deadline, and let's say I get in, I can always say no thank you, or can I put it off for a year or whatever. You never know what life is going to hold for you, and hopefully life is going to hold a lot of fabulous things. I feel like this whole venture with YouTube has been phenomenal. I had no idea. I honestly had no idea what to expect. I really never saw myself doing something like this. And if I did, I had no idea that anybody would want to listen to anything I had to say. So I'm really into my subscribers. I'm really into my audience. I'm very adamant about not allowing people to bully, not just to protect myself, but to protect all of us. I don't like blocking people, but when somebody is being a flippin' jerk, I will just block them for life. If somebody's just being a little bit rude, I will try to, kind of hit the ball back and not block. And I'm glad that I do that, because there's been a couple of times where I've hit the ball back and found out that the person wasn't being rude. They just were tone deaf in their comment, right? And let me just say, my computer was trying to sell me something the other day, knowing what I'm working on, obviously, this artificial intelligence. And this program that I'd never heard of, never even conceptualized. And maybe you guys have heard of this. This program that will look at your texts or your emails or whatever it is, and it'll correct the tone deafness. Is that cray cray? But that brings me to another concept with our Idaho 4. So let me get right into the Idaho 4. Let me remember to ask you guys to please hit the thumbs up and share and subscribe if you haven't already. That's one I always forget to put into my videos. But with this Idaho 4, okay, we know that our telephones, our smartphones are literally recording us all the time, even though they're not supposed to, right? I mean, we'll be talking about something and then we'll get on Facebook and Facebook will be trying to sell us the thing that we were talking about. And we don't even remember that our cell phone heard us. So we're like, oh, how does it know that I'm interested in that, right? And, sometimes it can be a little bit weird, but it is what it is. But my point of bringing that up is that with this mass homicide with the Idaho 4, obviously those girls and Ethan, the young man, obviously they all had smartphones. So those smartphones are going to be chock full of all types of information, not just their texts and their posts, but literally like doing the Alexa thing that they all do and listening in on what's happening, which brings up Alexa. I'm sure that somebody in that house had Alexa or Siri or something like that. And all of that electronic data is going to be key with solving this quadruple homicide. I have so much respect for law enforcement, and I know that I am not an expert on law enforcement. In fact, I think that once you think you're an expert on anything, you're kind of screwed because there's always something that you haven't thought of, something new, somebody who's got a better angle, a better perspective. So just keeping an open mind. That said, there are so many questions that I have in this investigation that I think could be public information without compromising the integrity of the investigation. Did I say that right? Kind of came out of my mouth wrong. Integrity of the investigation. It's important to enunciate, all right? Important. Okay. Yeah, sometimes your mouth just does weird things and finally I've learned how to edit it out, but editing is time consuming, so I like to just leave them live. Oh, and yeah, probably on a live you can't edit it out. I don't know, maybe. Anyway, I'm learning as I go. So as I was easing up on my videos, after I started doing the pre-recordeds instead of the lives, really in the crunch time of the last week, I was recording less. And then I learned how to use my community page, which is sort of like a Facebook wall, which, it's not very complicated, but I just had not even gone there and looked at it. So I feel like the community posts that I've put up have been extremely poignant. And they don't get that many views, which is understandable because like myself, a lot of us just don't go there. We're on YouTube because we want to watch videos. We're not on YouTube to look at things that are basically like Facebook posts. But I would really like to ask you guys, hey Pixie Knickers, hey Jen, I'd really like to ask you guys to go. Oh, and hey, Smiling. I haven't said hi to you yet. I think I said hi to everybody else except Michelle. Go over to my community page and please read those posts and look at them. I think you guys will really get a lot out of them. The one that I did, I think it was the day before yesterday, I was going to share with you here because I kind of think it kicks butt. Not to toot my own horn, and now you're gonna be like, what? That's not even that good. Okay. This one is about Jack, Kaylee's ex-boyfriend. And again, I want to underscore that everything I say is my opinion only, purely for speculation. This case reeks to me of domestic violence. Most people that are familiar with domestic violence know that the most dangerous time in a relationship that has tendencies to become violent is in breaking up. That's look what happened to Gabby Petito. There was probably some breaking up, canceling the wedding, canceling the engagement going on there. And very likely there was something like that going on here with Kiely and her ex-boyfriend. I'm not saying it was him. I'm saying that he needs to be scrutinized. I'm absolutely saying he needs to be scrutinized. I know there's a couple other Jacks that should probably be scrutinized too, but personally, I think those other Jacks are red herrings. I think the white car is a red herring. I think Jack D dyeing his hair brown or black to me is a huge red flag, a huge red flag. But I have questions for this young man that lived pretty much directly across the street. If you guys look at my community page, you'll see a lot of maps of exactly the layout. If you haven't gone on Google Earth yourself and looked at the way King Street and Queen Street are arranged, it's, Queen Street is more like a driveway to get to the big apartment building that Jeremy and I think Jack S live in. And the murder house, the House of Horrors, looks like it's on Queen Street, but because it's actually kind of on what looks like a corner of Queen Street. Queen does like a right angle, a right 90-degree angle. But really, that house, 1122, the address is King Street. And the house that Jack D rents an apartment in is also on King Street, right across the street. It's like a dead end. And the place that he's in is kind of up on the hill at that dead end. And then right across the street is like 1128. And right next to that, I think, is 1118. I might be getting my numbers a little bit off. And then there's just like a skinny strip of land that goes between those two addresses that goes to the murder house, 1122. And that's why the address is on King Street. So, like I said, if you go look at those maps, you'll get it all situated in your head. And it's important. It's really important to see with your own eyes what's going on there. Often in a jury, when a case goes to trial, the jury will go to the scene of the crime. And I didn't understand that when I was younger, but as I've gotten older and wiser and familiar with these types of situations, it's imperative. You absolutely must go on site. You will gain and gather more information than you ever knew possible. So, that said, most of us know about the 10 phone calls made from Kiely and Maddie to Jack D from, is it 2:26 a.m. until 2:52 a.m. I'm pretty sure those are the precise. Yeah, I have it written down right here. 2:26 to 2:52. So about 2:30 in the morning to about 3 in the morning. There were initially 6 calls made off of Kaylee's phone to Jack. And then there were 3 calls from Maddie's phone to Jack. And then there was 1 more call from Kaylee's phone to Jack. 10 phone calls. And I don't know the content of the messages or if there's texts. The only one that I have heard anything about was something to the effect of Kiely saying, "Come on, please respond. Get back to me. We own a dog together." Something like that, right? So my question is, did Jack ever try to call Kiely or Maddie back? Did he or didn't he? If he didn't, that doesn't necessarily mean that he knew that they were deceased, but it could be interpreted to mean that. 10 phone calls is a lot of phone calls to not return. But like I said, A does not lead to B, right? Apples and oranges. There could be a lot of reasons. But did he try to call her back? These are things that are extremely relevant. And also extremely relevant is how he responded to the news of finding out that a horrific tragedy took place so close to where he lives. So close to where he lives, right across the street. So, what was his response? Was he there? Did he come out of his house when all of these first responder vehicles were all over the place on Sunday? What was it? Probably about noon that first response started kicking in after the one roommate allegedly called 911. And, you know, why haven't we gotten that 911 call released yet? What is in that 911 call that is concerning to the people that control the release of that? Allegedly says, I said the same thing. I keep asking, did he call back in the morning or text back? If yes, why didn't he go over in the morning? If no, why didn't he go over in the morning? Exactly. It's so relevant. It's so relevant. And, you know, a normal person, like let's say he was not wanting to talk to them. Let's say he didn't see their messages, or he saw them and he didn't care. Still, it would be natural to try to figure out what's going on, why all these emergency vehicles are coming rushing to your neighborhood right across the street. I mean, that gets everybody's attention. And then if he was home and if he came out of his house, who did he talk to, or did he not talk to anybody? Did he just stand there? I'm going to read Monique Cole. I'm very happy having you on. Art therapy is an area where I wanted to go, and I saw a self-taught artist. You are great. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you. That's so sweet. Yeah, I love art therapy. But you know, I just love expressive arts, and that to me is what this whole YouTube thing is it's another expressive art. It's another form of therapy. I had no idea. I had no idea. So, and it, you know, felt therapeutic to me as the viewer as well. So now, as a content creator, I feel like I get the best of both worlds. I have had a couple exes that would blow up my phone with 30 or 40 calls and texts while I was asleep, accusing me of cheating. I love sleep so much, I seldom do anything else. Man, that's hilarious, allegedly. I'm with you though. I'm a huge fan of sleep myself. And yeah, I sometimes ignore my phone, but I usually try not to ignore it, even if it's annoying me. If it's somebody like my sister, who I love dearly, but she will totally blow up my phone. Sometimes, if I'm too tired or too busy, I just have to tune it out. But I will always get back to her, of course, as quickly as I can. So I wanted to add to this pile of suspicions that I have with Jack D, and I have a huge, huge pile. Um, it's understandable for an ex in his situation to not want to speak publicly because of the scrutiny that will come with all of us YouTubers and just the public in general, kind of over examining every word, every look, every pause, right? But not speaking makes you look that much guiltier, in my opinion. I think in many people's opinions. I believe this is, for instance, why Barry Morphew put out his 26 or 27-second video a week into his wife, Suzanne Morphew, missing, because he wasn't going to speak public. He was not going to be in real time with anybody. He had to have full control and contrived. And he made himself look extremely guilty by doing it pre-recorded. And everything he said, every expression on his face, every word that came out of his mouth. I mean, that was the biggest mistake I've seen somebody make in making themselves look guilty. Look at Chris Watts when he did his infamous porch interview. He most likely did that hoping to stave off suspicion, knowing that if he did not, if he just decided to decline the interview, that would make him look suspicious. So he thought, I got this. I can talk to anybody. I'm a good liar. I can look you straight in the eye and keep a straight face. And he made himself look very guilty. I mean, I think some people might have been duped by him, but for the most part, I think even his close friends realized when they saw that interview that he was guilty. Scott Peterson, that's another one. He did that Good Morning America or Diane Sawyer interview. I can't remember. I think it was Diane Sawyer. And it might have been Good Morning America too. But it maybe was a week in roughly to when Lacey Peterson was missing, and he thought same thing. I can do this. I can lie to these people, bald face, look them straight in the eye. I'm cool as a cucumber. And he said some things that were extremely not uh, not believable at all. And the interviewer, I'm pretty sure it was Diane Sawyer, she really pressed him, and he snapped and ended the interview, and it all kind of fell apart from there, right? Um, but I mentioned this, I can't remember if it was in one of my videos or one of my community posts, that when I saw a picture of this Jack D with the dog Murphy outside, the only photo op that I've seen at all is him wearing a hoodie and, you know, looking like he really is trying to disappear. And he's with the dog, and a couple of photographers zoomed in and got a couple of shots. And his hair is either dark brown or black. I've got one photo where it looks black. I got another photo where it looks dark brown, and he's got a full beard. And he looked so much like Scott Peterson did, in my opinion, on the day that they arrested Scott Peterson. And he was heading south. He was heading to the Mexican border. He had, I think, over $10,000 cash on his person. He had his brother's ID. He had bleached his hair because Scott Peterson had dark brown hair and it was kind of reddish. He said it got bleached by the sun in a swimming pool. What some people might not realize and might not know if they didn't follow that case closely is that Scott Peterson also had a map of where Amber Fry was. And he had what looked like a kill kit in the car. And it is extremely possible and even probable, perhaps, that he was on his way to take her out so that she could not testify against him. That's my belief. I'm also pretty sure that that's her belief, and many other people's that have paid close attention to that case, that he pretty much had a plan to get rid of Amber on his way out of the country. So that might be news to some people that didn't follow it as closely as I did. Let me read some of these longer ones. Allegedly says, I'm not a big fan of people, guilty or not, speaking publicly. Even innocent people can look guilty because memory isn't 100% on point verbatim. I can agree with that. And it's all description of perception. When you describe something, it's what you see that you describe. If someone else sees the same scene, they may say things from their perspective that don't match. Absolutely. Absolutely. However, I just think that there's many reasons, in my opinion, that make Jack D look suspicious. And, you know, not to beat a dead horse, but just the sheer fact of them being on a break. I have not looked at all of the posts that I've heard about on Kiely's Facebook, or maybe their Instagram, or other, you know, Twitter accounts. But many posts where she wrote about the stress of being in a relationship with him. And we all know, just being real, that she was way out of this guy's league, way out of this guy's league. And maybe she didn't know that, but most certainly he knew that, right? And this is, I see, part of the problem when you have somebody like Shanann Watts, Gabby Petito, and their disgusting murderers. To me, Shanann Watts and Gabby Petito were way out of the leagues of Chris Watts and Brian Laundrie, completely out of their leagues. And it's not what's important. Looks are not what is important, right? It's love, it's personality, it's character. So, you know, good for them that they were not looking at surface aesthetics to base their relationship on. But when that happens, when somebody like Shanann Watts, who's just like, you know, absolutely stunning, drop dead gorgeous, and could have almost anybody she wanted, when she dates somebody like a Chris Watts, who's rarely ever kissed a girl in his life and never really knew if he'd ever have the confidence to date, and then they get lucky and then it's falling apart. Those people, when they're narcissists, when they're egomaniacs, they just can't deal with the failure. They absolutely can't deal with the failure. And they would rather play the victim. And in making their significant other disappear, they can garnish the sympathy of, oh, woe, always me. Look what happened. My significant other is gone. Oh, poor me, right? And that it's always these guys that are like all macho that want to play the victim. It's so unappealing. Um, so I'm going to read a couple more. Oh, thanks, Laura. That's so nice. I love watching your content. That's really sweet. And I hope I didn't miss anybody smiling in. That didn't work, LOL. I don't know. I don't want to scroll back just because it gets so confusing. And here we are at half an hour already. Oh my goodness. Lives do that. They just go on. I'm in shock. You are live. Hello, Xena Warrior. Hey, Heavenly Clouds. That's so cool. Thank you for watching. So yeah, I wanted to direct you guys over to that community page. Please check those out. And, you know, if you have ideas, put them in the comments. I just think it's so important to stay on this case. I also think it's so important to stay on the Kiely Rodni case. I'm thrilled that the video was released by AWP. I am not thrilled that I re-upped my subscription so that I could watch it right away when it came out on Friday night. I think it's open to the public now. I don't think it's behind the paywall anymore. I think it went public yesterday for anybody who hasn't seen it. I think it's really interesting, and I'm hopeful that some good will come of it. One thing I haven't talked about that I will as I'm allegedly says it is open now. Thank you, allegedly. I didn't want to talk about other content creators and all that negativity because there's been so much of that, and I'll just speak accurately to it so I'm not being so vague. So much of that, like with You Back Jeff, so much of that with Joseph Morris. I really try not to mention other content creators unless it's giving a shout out, but those are a couple that I find their latest actions despicable. And it's not too late for them to try to come clean and try to regain some composure. But the first thing you have to do in a situation like that is admit your fault and apologize. So I wanted to say that. Honestly, I didn't feel the trust with either of them ever. They're both of them I thought had some interesting things to say, so I would watch them until I got sick of them and totally lost trust. And then when these things happened, it did not surprise me. A couple other content creators that I don't like to say their names, but once in a while I do. That All American Dream Chaser, creepy person. And then Olivia, Chronicles of Olivia. She's such a pretty young woman, and it's as though she thinks that she can just ride that into YouTube land, into the greatest success of all time. And she's got no credibility, in my opinion. When I realized she was the same girl that did that thing in the Gabby Petito case with the water bottle in the grass out at the site where Brian Laundrie's half note and dry bag and all that crap were discovered. When she did that stunt with the water bottle, she got shut down from TikTok, and she, I thought, got in big trouble with law enforcement. So I was very surprised to see her coming out with those interviews in the Kiely Rodni case, the party, anonymous party girl 1, anonymous party girl 2, Jane Doe 1 and Jane Doe 2. I saw her photograph when I was looking at those, and I thought, gee, she's pretty, and gee, she looks familiar. And then it came to me, and I went back and I looked, and sure enough, it was the same person. So I never even watched those Jane Doe 1, Jane Doe 2. You know, I've tuned out a lot of the static when I feel like these people are not trustworthy. Sometimes, however, it can be useful to check out what it is anyway, even knowing that it's a crock, just so that you know what the entirety of it is. So I tried to put out there subtly for people to know that that's who that was. And at the same time, I just tried to leave it alone because I don't like to critique other content creators, except in a good way. And you guys know a lot of my favorites. I'm constantly giving shout outs to people like Kelly from Watts the Obsession, Paula Plunder, Harsh Reality. Allegedly seems incredibly awesome. I think your channel's kind of small, allegedly, but you seem like such a brilliant presence. I don't know if you have other channels. D's Nut says, good morning, you all need my jazz therapy now. And you know, a lot of the ones that I love the most are kind of smaller channels that are just very different and unique in their approaches. I really enjoy just these content creators that are themselves, that they're not trying to get the clicks, they're not trying to get the likes, they're just being authentic and true to themselves. And I find that extremely satisfying. There are content creators like Christina Randall, It's a Crime. Some of these that are much larger content creators that I do think that they are true to themselves and being authentic and achieving great success. Paula Plunder and Kelly are good examples of that too. And then I already said Harsh, but again, he's just like at his 1-year anniversary, and he's probably getting close to 40,000 subs now. And then there's a lot of these smaller ones that are just phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And it's just, it's a fun venue. I feel like we've got this fantastic community of folks, and I feel so privileged to be part of this community. So I just want to thank you guys for accepting me. Thank you for your love, and I love you back. Harsh is a nice guy. I mean, the YouTube guy. Yeah. And he's got that cute freaking puppy that he just got. Oh my goodness, that little French bulldog. I'm not usually into the French bulldog breed, but that one is so cute. It's hilarious. I'm in no hurry to build my channel. I am randomly creating various topic videos when I feel the urge, but we'll start picking up on vids soon and maybe live soon. Good to know. So yeah, with me, you know, I finally took the plunge, getting going with Kiely Rodni's case. And when I do something, I do it. So it wasn't that surprising to me when I quickly got into this routine of doing my lives every day and 2 a day. And I crack myself up because over the weekends, I try not to do my videos. And I have a lot of trouble not doing my videos. I just miss you guys. I miss the process, even if it's not a live, even if it's just a pre-recorded. So I'm just that way. I'm a creature of comfort, a person of routine. And when I do something, I pretty much jump in both feet. And when I don't do something, I'm pretty much just all out, all or nothing. It is healthy to know how to moderate, right? So I do try. And I want to just tell you guys how much I appreciate you. And I see John Courtney's comment, appreciate you and your content. You are a blessing. Thank you so much. And back at you for sure. So thanks for this hour of therapy, you guys. We're coming up on 40 minutes. 50 minutes is kind of your standard therapy hour. So I'll cut it a little bit short of the 50 minutes just because I got to get that application finished. I can't believe I'm so close. I really didn't know how I would do over the weekend, and I was really good. I just gotta brag a little bit. I just kept plugging away. It was so painful and annoying, and I did clean my house. I would take a break from writing on the computer and I would just like do some deep cleaning. It was pretty hilarious because that's always my joke. Like when it's finals week at college, you clean your room, you rearrange your room. I made a joke last week, like you might even need to start painting, paint a wall, paint a room. And honestly, I'll share with you, yesterday, my 18-year-old son started scraping all of the paint off of our main bathroom, which has needed it for a long time. And him and my husband painted that bathroom yesterday, the entire thing. He started it in the morning and it was done by the end of the day. So I didn't do the painting, but I think they got inspired by my deep cleaning. So it really cracked me up. Anyway, I'm going to sign off. Thanks again. And as always, I'd like to remind us all to drink our water and eat our protein, eat our fruits and veggies, get our exercise, be kind to ourselves, be kind to others, and most importantly, get your sleep, get your rest. Just the R&R is absolutely essential to our well-being, especially in this time of holiday stress, right? Yes, the hydration and being kind and just gratitude. So I am praying for an arrest in the Idaho 4. It sure would be nice to see an arrest in the Kiely Rodni case too, but that doesn't seem like it's anywhere near the horizon. But maybe we're taking a step closer to that. With the Idaho 4, I said this yesterday in my video, I hope for these families that they get some peace before Christmas. This is going to be such an awful Christmas for all of them anyway. And to not have an arrest is unthinkable. I understand that 1 month is not a long time in an investigation. Tomorrow it'll be a month. But when you've got a quadruple homicide in a small town and you've got a bloodthirsty killer on the loose, that's not okay. That is absolutely not. Absolutely not. There needs to be an arrest immediately, if not sooner. I'm just so glad that nobody else has been hurt yet. But in all honesty, this killer, whoever it is very likely going to take himself out and everybody that he can with him. And those police need to make an arrest. And I won't even get into that whole freaking James Fry police chief. He's a huge, huge disappointment. Huge. On that, peace out. Just my opinion, right? Thanks again, you guys. And Harsh is doing a live later. Yes, he is. The timing of the murders is a huge clue. Situational timing. Hey, Miles. Hey, Bo Peep. And I believe it. Let me end with one of the most important questions that I feel like I have that I have gotten no information about. If anybody knows, what has been going on with Jack D's life this last 6 months, with his school status, with his work status? We know he got dumped by Kiely. Did he graduate already? Was he waiting around in Moscow for her to graduate? She was going to graduate on Saturday, the day before yesterday. She was part of that graduating class. Did he get kicked out of school? Did he quit going to school? What is his status? I have a feeling that that's extremely relevant. be aware of your surrounding and don't be on your phone, eyes open. Yeah, Laura says that's what I would like to know. Haven't heard them investigating professors or campus security at all. We have seen in the past it was sometimes them. I agree with that outlook and perspective, but to me it seems so likely that most, if not all, indicators point to a certain individual. And it's my belief that the school, and if he is part of a fraternity, that they are going to want to distance themselves from him as much as possible before this news comes out. So I would imagine that if my inkling is accurate, that they may be making a paper trail of expulsion or probation or something like that, that they were trying to distance themselves, or that they are trying to distance themselves, whether it is true or not true. Nobody would want to be affiliated with a person like that. And especially being fooled by somebody who is seemingly, just an average Joe. So on that, here we go. I'm going to say goodbye. Oh, wait a second, Mr. Hirsch. I can't just go now that you're here. We're just getting started. I'm so flattered. I remember you coming into one of my chats like about a month ago, because that was the last time I did a live. And I was literally just like now, I was literally just about to log off and I saw you in here and I was like, what? Okay. Now, I don't want other people to think that I don't feel as flattered by each and every one of you being here. But let me just say, Harsh, thank you so much for joining my chat. Like, that is a huge compliment. And I know you're having a live tonight, and I saw that it was like 10 something. I saw your little community post that you were rescheduling it because one of your subs had an anniversary of a huge loss yesterday. So you were scheduling it for today. And I think it said 10 o'clock, but I don't know if that was like your UK time or our, okay, yeah. 10:45 UK time, which might be 6:45 East Coast time. I don't know. And Phantasmic Ether, yay, made my day. Thanks, you guys. 5:45. Thank you, Mr. Harsh. Awesome. I'm writing that down. 5:45. Be there or be square. Peace out, folks. I really am just so excited to be a part of this group, and I got to get this damn application done. I've got everything uploaded. I've got one thing. I'll tell you what I'm working on. It is a writing sample. Right now it's 5 pages, double spaced, and I need to talk to the people at this academic program to find out if that's too long or too short. It's hard to gauge. At first, I thought they wanted something 10 to 20 pages. And then I thought, well, I better ask before I make something 10 pages and then find out it's 2. So I've got a good 5 pages that just needs some editing and tweaking, and then I am done. Everything is in. I have 3 questions to ask them. I've already phoned them and left a voicemail. And so as I get off my live here, I'm going to follow that up with an email and hopefully have this whole thing out of the way by the end of today, if not first thing tomorrow morning. And then let's try to meet here again. How about that? We'll end with same bat channel, same bat time. It is 9:45 East Coast time. So what, I started about 9 o'clock. Let's shoot for somewhere between 8 and 9 tomorrow. Does that sound good? I'll try to do one of those little snippets where I say, hey, I'm about to go on, and then do that. So thank you so much. I love you guys, and peace out. Have a great day, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks again. Oh, yes, and